Welcome to the No New Friends podcast, the podcast for adults who like to laugh at adulting. We are so excited for you to start your No New Friends podcast journey. Now, in the first 20 episodes, we've got old microphones that we kind of pieced together. So our audio is a little bit rough for the first 20 or so episodes. But there are some classic episodes in that first 20 that we reference all throughout our future episodes of the No New Friends podcast. So just bear with us on that audio. I apologize. But it gets better. We get brand new microphones right around episode 20 or so. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of the No New Friends podcast.
And now it's time for the No New Friends podcast with Scott and Mary.
Minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
You're listening to another episode of the No New Friends podcast. I am your host, Scott. With me, as always, my co-host, Mary.
Mary!
You can like and follow and share us on Facebook at No New Friends Podcast. You can email us, no new friends podcast at yahoo.com. Message or support us by clicking on the message or support link in the episode description. We can be heard on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Breaker, Pocket Cast, and Radio Public.
Now take a deep breath.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, and it's funny. I try not to, as I'm editing these things, and you got to see it the other day, there's so many breaths. Like I just heard it. There's so many breaths that I take, and the waves on the editor look the same. So I know when I've taken a deep breath on the air, and this microphone is damn sensitive.
You showed me, but I still don't think that I would be able to quickly recognize that was a breath.
It happens so quick, and I think when I'm editing, because I'm listening to it like bit at a time, bit, that I can really hear it. And then now that I know what it looks like, I can really see it. So I'm like, ugh. And I also know what the word looks like. It has a very distinct wave file. So I know every time that there's a breath and then or and then a breath, or even like a so
this
funny.
is my new goal. You know how like on Super Troopers they play the games where they like say meow and all of that? I'm going to come up with different ways to say that will not show up in the same way as the other ones, and we're going to see how many I can get in without you finding them.
Okay, gotcha. Gotcha. Well, listen, today, you're hearing this episode on Friday, but today for us is one of my favorite days of the year. It is April 1st. It is April Fool's Day. Happy April Fool's Day, Mary.
Well, thank you. That's also because you're a psychopath. I don't know if anyone celebrates this holiday the way you do. When I was at Scott's house the other day, they like had it decorated for April Fools.
We had balloons.
Streamers, everywhere. It was intense.
So I wanted to share one of my greatest April Fool's Day pranks and one of my worst April Fool's Day pranks that worked like a charm, but really, really backfired and caused some problems. So every year I did something for April Fool's Day. Maybe something little, maybe something big.
Did you always attack the same person?
No, I mean, it was typically my family that would get it.
So yes.
My mom, my sister, and or all of them. And like some of them were so dumb where it was just a phone call like, hey, they're transferring me to wherever. And it was just like something stupid. And they're like, oh, April Fools. So like this was kind of the long con, which I want to get to that in a second. So one year I'm working in the Sanford location of the restaurant company that we worked for, and I was the kitchen manager. And I had this set up with one of the cooks. And I said, dude, we are going to stage a fight between you and me. Not like a physical altercation, but like where I'm riding you all day and then finally you just walk out. So the setup of this is I'm the opening manager, and it was
I think I know which manager you preyed upon with this.
It was on a Sunday. And so I start texting this manager, and her name is Kim. Poor Kim.
Mm-hmm.
I'm texting her, and I'm like, yeah, man, I'm having so many problems with this cook today. Like it's bad. And him and I were the only ones. Well, him and I were in on it, and then I thought we had told one of the other cooks, So the way that this was going to play out is once Kim arrived, Rob was going to walk. Oh, I should have said this. Whatever. He was going to walk out. And so this played out beautifully. He walked out. Kim's freaking out. I come running out. I said, best April Fool's prank ever. Okay. It should have been over there. And she's like, okay, that was pretty funny. However, one of the cooks who wasn't aware of what was happening was like now thought he was getting screwed over. So he's all pissed off. The other one who I thought was in on it was like, it's pretty messed up that you were just baiting him all day just to get him to walk out. Like, that's messed up. And it was like,
it backfired.
It took us 3 hours to recover. It took us 3 hours to recover from this.
Did Rob come back in and explain that he was in on it?
Yes.
He corroborated your story.
But it was too late. It was a Sunday, and this played out right before, like, you know how Sunday is an early dinner rush?
Yeah.
It played out right as that was starting.
Oh, no.
It was, so I was banned from working April Fool's Day ever again. Like,
well, you didn't work it this year, so good job.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Now, I had a great one. So it was because every year my family was expecting April Fool's jokes. So we find out that the Beach Boys are going to be performing at Mardi Gras at Universal. Super exciting. And they were playing on April 5th. I remember it was April 5th because it was my mom's birthday. And oh crap, that reminds me, I gotta like send her flowers or something. That's
shout out to Maureen. Happy birthday, girl.
So I read an article in the paper that John Stamos is going to be performing with the Beach Boys when they're at Universal. And this is like not like he tours with them, especially like really big shows. I mean, he's a member of the Beach Boys. So I text my mom and my sister both, a little group text, and I was like, oh my God, John Stamos is going to be performing with the Beach Boys. And like, oh my God, that's so super cool, blah, blah, blah.
Woohoo, yeah.
I think that's where it ends because, like, I'm sending facts. My mom goes, I just looked to see what day it was. You're an asshole. That's the worst April Fool's prank ever. And my sister goes, oh my God, I hate you. Blah, blah, blah. You know, it's like
they turned so against you.
The funny thing is, John Stamos did perform with the Beach Boys.
You didn't lie.
I didn't. It was the best April Fool's Day joke ever that I didn't even mean to do. Just because I set up the long con over the years.
The long con.
Yeah, where like I just did these stupid things. So every year they expected it to be an April Fool's Day joke.
Oh God. You know, I am not mean to people like you, Scott. So I just kidding. I think a lot of it is one, I forget what day it is. So that's probably the core of my problem of doing April Fool's jokes. But I really can't think of a time that I actually did an April Fool's joke. My mother, on the other hand, told us, I don't know, it was probably 3 or 4 years ago that she was retiring.
Right.
Next week. It's my last week. And the woman's worked hard. Like, she's worked for a while. I was like, hell yeah, Mom. Like, congratulations. And I was so excited. 1, for her, obviously, but 2, free childcare. Sign me up. Like, you're going to be retired. Right. Let me give you something to do. It was a lie. And I was like planning a party. Like, I was excited for her.
It's not a lie.
And this hoe. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my God.
No, I love my mother. I do. She's wonderful, but she's still working. So It was not a good April Fool's joke. I was angry.
I don't try to pull them off anymore because, one, it's just so predictable. I mean, nobody really takes my phone calls on April 1st anymore just because they
Hopefully
know.
There's no emergency.
Right, I know, right?
You're like, I need help. You call 911 and we're like, Scott, we know better.
Yeah,
like,
we know it's you. I'm on like a red flag list. Like, just don't take his calls on April 1st.
You're lucky I'm on this Zoom call right now.
I know, right? I enjoy seeing what other people do, and not what other people do because people are stupid, but like corporations or Netflix. A couple years ago, they were in this friendly feud with John Stamos, and so they every category was like John Stamos's favorites, John Stamos's bedtime movies, and like his favorites were like all chick flicks and like The Notebook. Like, they completely redid.
Oh, that's Netflix. Hilarious.
And
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, it was a couple years ago. Really funny. And then the radio show that I listened to, or the radio station that I listened to, Real Radio 104.1. One year they mixed the order of the shows. So like, it's usually the Monsters in the morning, the News Junkie, the Jim Colbert Show. So I'm in the car at 7 a.m. expecting to hear the Monsters, and it's the Jim Colbert Show. And then
Like,
the
what
monsters
happened?
came on in the midday, and then the news junkie came on the afternoon drive. And I'm like, what is going on? I was like,
Why
but
would you do
brilliant.
this?
Yeah.
It
And
is
then
brilliant.
one year they got me. So the monsters started with Russ and Bo. Okay, it started Russ
Mhm.
and Bo, and Bo left the show years and years and years and years and years ago. Well, one day he's on the show, and like Russ is like, "Yep, the big man Bo Rhodes is back," and Dirty Jim, who didn't like him, is all pissed off and blah blah blah. And oh my god, I'm so excited! It was the best episode ever. And at the very end of the episode, and I didn't realize what day it was. The end of the episode, they go April Fools as they let off, like so you didn't know. And I'm like,
You're
oh,
like, this is ridiculous.
yep.
Terrible.
Yep.
Awful.
And then the Orlando Sentinel one time wrote an article. This is years ago, back in like the early to mid 90s. Dennis Scott, who played for the Magic, was out with a knee injury. And they said that while he was out, he traveled to Zimbabwe or somewhere in Africa and ran into Manute Bol's cousin. His name is Yad S. Luflerpa. Okay.
What?
And, Yad.
Is that is
S.
that a factual
Luflerpa.
part or is that the actual joke?
This is in the article. His name is Yad S. Luflerpa, and he was 7'8", and the Magic signed him. You know, he's been playing ball, and he's better than Manute Bol. He's got to put a little bit of weight on. I mean, it goes into detail and all that. And I'm like, oh my god, this is so exciting. And I'm like calling everybody. I'm like, we're gonna get, because back
This
in the
could
day,
be awesome.
yeah, back in the 90s, it was all about getting that big man. All about getting that big man. So finally, someone says, hey, Yad S. Luflerpa, write that out and kind of unscramble that a little bit. Yad S. Luflerpa, unscrambled is April Fool's Day.
That's hilarious.
So mad.
I think those are my favorite, are the like psychological mind screws. Like,
Yeah.
you're like, wait a minute, what just happened? As opposed to like silly ones like squirting a bottle of water in someone's face.
Right.
I did do that to Zoe one year. The whole like quarter over it and they look into it and you squirt the bottle of water. She did not enjoy that. And she also didn't talk to me for a few hours, which really win-win. I don't know. But just kidding.
Pranks are something that carry on, though, not just on April 1st. I mean,
Well,
especially in the restaurant industry. I mean, how many
They're
times?
The worst.
Oh my gosh. The cooks, especially to a
They're
new
the
server.
worst.
Hey, can you go drain the hot water out of the coffee maker?
No, and what's so sad is that they're so eager to please and they want to build a good relationship with the line cooks because they know, like, if they put something in late or if they have a bunch of modifications, that's who they need to please. So like, yes, I will do whatever you need me to do. And you just see them over there with a bucket trying to.
Yep. We used to have at when I was at Sonny's Barbecue, we had retail sauce. We would sell retail sauce. So when the cashiers sold a bottle of sauce, the ticket would come into the kitchen. It would say retail sauce. Well, we didn't have to do anything for it. You take the ticket off and throw it away. Well, they would, especially if there was a new cook on the line, say, hey, I need a bottle of retail sauce. And so the cook would, and they did it to me when I was a manager in training. And I'm searching all over the restaurant. Finally, I go to my GM. I was like, hey, I must have missed this in training, but they're telling me they need a bottle of retail sauce. And they're like, get back on the line. They're screwing with you. I'm like,
oh, and then you have to do the walk of shame back to the line because you didn't know.
Yeah.
Or there was the empty the steam out of like the like that was one. Or the go find the left hand spatula.
Yeah.
And they would be like digging through stuff. Like, what's the difference? What? I don't know. Oh, it was awful. But it's also so much fun.
I know. I love the draining of the hot water though, because you see someone, they've got the bun burner open. What was it called? The bun burner, right? It was like, I don't know.
No, it's not a bun burner. That doesn't sound. That sounds like a workout. That's not.
I don't remember, but I mean, just sitting there, keeping it open. Well, it doesn't pull from like a basin. It pulls from the plumbing.
Yeah, well, but it's.
You're gonna be emptying
my
that
favorite
thing forever.
My favorite part of that is that everyone else knows what's happening. And they're just like, you're doing a great job.
Yeah,
keep it up.
yeah,
like
keep it up.
I've never seen someone drain this as quickly. Like,
we're gonna be watching your career with great interest.
Yes, this is wonderful. Oh man!
All right, when we get we're gonna go to break. We're gonna go to break. When we come back, I don't know what we're gonna talk about. We'll see. It'll be a surprise.
We're gonna wing it. Let's see.
Yep. You're listening to the No New Friends podcast.
If
you're looking to advertise your business or service, please email us at no-new-friends-podcast@yahoo.com. A captive audience is ready to hear what you have to offer. Contact us today. Again, that email is no-new-friends-podcast@yahoo.com. No New Friends Podcast is now using Nikki Podcast Preparations Incorporated, which is a podcast management consultant agency of services that helps independent podcasts obtain more plays, downloads, guests, sponsors, and a bunch of the legwork behind the microphone when it comes to podcasting. CEO Nick can be contacted via Twitter or Instagram at NikkiKeepyINC. And if you tell him that the No New Friends podcast sent you, we'll both get a 25% discount. Nikki has helped accumulate millions upon millions of downloads, tens of thousands of dollars in sponsorships, celebrity guests, and much more. So just shoot him a direct message to get your podcast growing.
Hey guys, comedian James John, and you are listening to the No New Friends podcast.
Welcome back to the No New Friends podcast with Scott and Mary. Make sure you like us on Facebook, No New Friends Podcast at yahoo.com. Wait, like us on Facebook at No New Friends Podcast. You can email us, No New Friends Podcast at yahoo.com.
You got it right. Good job.
Yeah, wow.
I'm so proud of you. Sorry. It's fine. It's April 1st. Speaking of April, I would like to wish everyone a happy Autism Awareness Month. That doesn't sound right. I don't think it's supposed to be happy. I don't know. Anyways, it is Autism Awareness Month. And
we're both wearing blue today.
We are.
That's exciting.
That was not planned.
No, not planned at all.
The first shirt I saw when I opened my drawer, and it went nicely with my yoga pants, which I wear almost every day.
Technically for us, tomorrow is Autism Awareness Day, but for everybody listening, today is, well, if you listen to it today, it's Autism Awareness Day.
Right. So April 2nd.
2 weeks from now, then 2 weeks ago was April.
Yes.
It's a weird time continuum thing that we'll
talk about time continuum in a little bit. I need to touch on that. Yes, so April 2nd is Autism Awareness Day. The whole month of April is Autism Awareness Month. I don't know if all of our listeners know, but most of them probably do. I have 2 kiddos that are on the spectrum. So for us, it's very important to raise awareness and just kind of, speak the gospel about inclusion and understanding and just being kind humans. 1 out of every 57 kids are diagnosed with autism, and they're typically boys, which both my boys were diagnosed with it. So just be kind humans and show some love. If you see a mom out or a dad out struggling or having some challenges, then show some love.
The awareness is super important because I remember in elementary school, and this is, definitely before I knew about it, but probably before a large chunk of society knew about it, and we just thought, the child was bad, or the kid in class was just bad behaved. And I think it's really important, not only as an adult to get educated on it, but educate your kids on it.
Right. Well, and it's something that I'm obviously super passionate about outside of just my kids. I worked in the field for a little bit, and it's interesting to me that you just said there, when we were younger, it wasn't something that anyone really talked about or knew about. And a lot of it is just the lack of resources and the lack of knowledge. I think that, kids were getting diagnosed with ADHD without looking a little further into it. We were, shoving Ritalin down kids' throats and hoping that would help, when it was just a completely different, wiring almost of the brain. They just see the world a little differently. And I had those situations where I would be out. Grayson, the youngest, he had a lot of maladaptive behaviors in the beginning and if you don't, that terminology is probably not something I should use, but maladaptive means, I don't want to say bad behaviors, but behaviors that you should not exhibit if you want to, I don't want to say be productive, but things like being aggressive or throwing things or self-injurious behaviors. Those types of things are considered maladaptive behaviors. So he was nonverbal for a while. Grayson didn't talk until he was about 4. And now you can't get him to stop, which is wonderful. It's the best thing ever. But we would go shopping, and you have to put a lot of planning into it. And I think there's a lot that goes on behind the doors where people don't know how difficult it can be to have a child with special needs. There's just to go to the grocery store, the amount of preparation you have to do is really, really intense. But, I would be out with him and he would have a meltdown because it was really loud or really bright, or it was just too much stimuli. And, he would get aggressive or he would get upset. And I would have people tell me I should hit him back or I should, things like that. And it's just, and at that point, I think it's just a lack of empathy. They didn't care to know what was going on with him. They just saw something and, said it. But now that we're getting further with getting better diagnoses, the DSM-5, like we're, as just a community and society, we're evolving to kind of seek the answers instead of just leaving the questions there and making assumptions. So I think that we are moving in the right direction. Both of our kiddos are doing really, really well. They are thriving. So yeah, happy Autism Awareness Month. I went to Walmart today.
Oh God.
So that's sorry. What I did. I know it was awful. That was awful. Anywho, continue on. Well, and I think also while we're on the topic, I'd like to maybe debunk a few myths maybe about autism and folks who have autism. That there a lot of times people think that they have a lack of empathy or that they don't care about other people, but that's not necessarily true. Sometimes it's just a lack of ability or resources to communicate what their feelings are. Another myth is that every person with autism has some sort of superpower. They can, count really high, or they can, do math well, or they read, super well.
I think I've even asked you, what are your kids' superpowers?
What are kids' superpowers? Yeah. And actually for Dexter reads at about an 8th grade reading level, and he's in 4th grade. So he, his mind definitely assists him in those types of areas. I did read an article once where someone thought that autism was caused by refrigerators. So that was interesting.
Yeah, I've never heard that conspiracy
theory. Yes. Refrigerators and microwaves. It's the 5G. I don't know. It must be.
The 5G.
And then or vaccines too. And people go back and forth on that. But these like conspiracy theories really crack me up. And not just for autism. I read a whole article last night about conspiracy theories, and some of them I'm on board with.
Oh,
I could sign off.
Here we go.
I think I can sign off.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Okay. All right. Everybody saddle up. Okay. We're going on a journey. UFOs.
Okay.
Maybe they aren't aliens.
Okay. What are they then?
They're humans. They're time travelers though. They're from the future, and they have put together the technology to be able to time travel. And every now and then there's a glitch or a mistake, and we're able to see them. We're not supposed to. But that's why, think about it. We've never been attacked by a UFO before. The Simpsons call everything.
So you think that when we see these time machines, it's probably Matt Groening from
100%
The Simpsons.
Just him.
Because he's a time traveler.
Correct. But digest that. What are your thoughts?
I think that you need to stop going down these little wormholes is what I think.
Is it a wormhole or a rabbit hole? We discussed
who knows? I don't know. Is it a wormhole? Is it a rabbit hole? I don't know. Look, we don't know. Sorry, I have to interrupt real quick. I'm recording in my upstairs office, and I'm watching a stop sign, what I thought was being replaced. And first of all, it's a City of Winter Garden. He's not on a ladder. He just stood on his truck, and he didn't replace the stop sign. I think he just tightened it, but now he's shaking it. It's weird, and my dogs are going
checking
nuts.
It. Yeah,
he could be honing in one of the time traveling spaceships that you refer to.
First of all, no. Look, that's going to be a no for me, dog.
It's a hard no. Look, I don't know. Do I think that there's life out there? Yes. Do I think that time travel is possible? No. Not
really?
Not in the sense that we know it from the movies. I think time viewing could be somewhat possible, but not.
What do you mean time
not
viewing?
In the future?
What, you're going to click on a channel and watch?
No, nothing like that. I don't know. Just there's some really smart people in some sort of quantum realm mechanics.
Yeah. How do you feel about string theory?
Well, all I know about string theory is that is what Sheldon and Leonard studied in The Big Bang Theory. I don't know what it is.
Oh, okay. I have some books if you want to borrow them.
Yeah, because I'm going to read up on string theory. But I just, first of all, there's only a handful of time travel movies that have gotten it right. And here's
How
the
do
thing.
you know they got it right? Like, you mean they predicted what was going to happen? Or
No. They have the premise of time travel correct. Like,
how do you?
I'm going to explain. It's going to make sense.
I'm just trying
give
to
me a
understand
second.
what your credentials are. If you're the one that's going to call that they have it correct.
It's going to make sense. Okay, you ready? And I'll tell you I'll tell you which movies got it right and which movies got it wrong. Okay, Back to the Future got it wrong.
Correct.
Bill and Ted got it right. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban got it right. Okay,
I would agree with that.
I'm going to explain. You can't go back in time and change the past. Once it's happened, that's the way it happens. So if you've traveled back in time and you do something, that means that action was already completed the first time around. Okay? So in Harry Potter, Prisoner of Azkaban, for example, when they're sitting there, looking into Hagrid's hut and she gets hit from behind, or the thing the little pebble comes in and breaks, it happens because it's a loop.
All right. Yes.
And
correct.
If it happened once, it's always going to happen that way. Okay. Back to the Future, where he changes something, that can't happen because, okay, so let's say that I want to travel back in time and prevent the JFK assassination. First of all, movies prove that that's a bad idea. Okay, so I go back and I stop the Kennedy assassination. Okay, Kennedy's never assassinated. Well, now I don't have a need to travel back in time to prevent the Kennedy assassination. So it creates this huge paradox, this weird loop. Does that make sense?
Yes, and absolutely not.
If anybody's going to go back in time and prevent the Kennedy assassination, Kennedy would have lived. It would have already happened.
Well, correct. But I think what you said about Harry Potter, that I think that they do have it right. And that makes perfect sense. I don't think that the past, what happened, and it's still the product of whether somebody went back in time and changed it or not. The end product is still the same and we're living
exactly. Bill and Ted, when they are like, okay, when we're done with this, we're going to leave ourselves a note, or we're going to do this, or we're going to do that. And it's a loop. It keeps happening. If it happened once, or if you went back and did something, then it already happened originally.
Right. Okay. So we're in agreement on that.
Yep.
What about the UFOs though?
I don't know. I don't think it's a time travel. Okay, he's painting the white. Sorry. Now it has nothing to do with the stop sign. He's painting the white stripe. Thank God that this white stripe, which is clearly visible at a stop sign that not a lot of people travel on this street. This is not the stop sign in our neighborhood to address. This one's fine. Sorry, I'm getting irritated because this is what our tax dollars are going to.
Excuse me, sir. Now. I feel like this probably also should be brought up in like your next HOA meeting. I don't know. Like,
yeah, I guess so. Sorry, super irritated right now, but it's fine.
So should we do like the Winter Garden Chronicles, like Construction Chronicles?
I guess so. Look, no, your UFO. I always think that there's a logical explanation for everything. Like, I don't necessarily believe in ghosts or anything like that. Like, I don't know. I feel like there's a reasonable explanation for everything. I don't know that these are UFO sightings. I think that they are just really bright lights or a plane.
Well, they just released all that stuff that the White House was like, yeah, there is Area 51. Like, there's like some stuff there. Like, there's UFOs. Like, they've released information confirming that. And I think it would be mighty bold of us to assume there's not other
life out there.
Beings.
No, I believe that. I believe that, but I don't think they're traveling here.
Yeah, I don't think so either. They would keep going and roll the windows up and lock the doors because I hate it here. Just kidding.
I think some of this news that gets released is ways to confirm conspiracy theorists' theories, so that that is true. So all this other stuff must be true as well. I think it's part of the long con. Here's the thing.
This is the long con. We're in it.
Like not paranoid, like I've got a bunker in the basement or anything, but like I always think something could be a long con.
Oh, so like we're on the Truman Show right now. That's what's happening.
Listen, I have not ruled that out. I have
But
not
I'm
ruled
the
it
crazy one.
I didn't say you were crazy. I said you have too
see
much
it in
time
your
on your
eyes.
hands.
I see it in your eyes. I have too much time on my hand. You're watching a dude install a stop sign.
I know. I'm so
Talking
distracted
about.
by this right now.
Oh,
Good
Lord. Okay.
You know what other movie got it right? The Marvel movies. Marvel Endgame.
Yes. No. With Captain America, 100%.
Yes, they got it right. They got it right.
They get it right.
And we're going to talk more about Marvel when we come back. Warning, spoiler alerts. You're listening to the No New Friends podcast.
At this time, the No New Friends podcast would like to thank one of our supporters, Chris Kelleher. Thank you for being a supporter of the No New Friends podcast. You too can be a supporter. It's very simple. All you have to do is click on the link in the episode description, and you too, for as low as 99 cents per month, can support the No New Friends podcast. What this does is goes towards new equipment, marketing, and other operating expenses. Support today, and again, thank you, Chris Kelleher.
Hey, this is Craig Brooks with Tasty Trivia, and you're listening to the No New Friends podcast.
Welcome back to the No New Friends podcast with Scott and Mary. As always, please like and share us on Facebook at No New Friends Podcast. You can email us nonewfriendspodcast@yahoo.com. Message and support us by clicking on the message or support link in the episode description. Now, right before the break, we were talking about time travel, and one movie that got it right is Marvel. Now, again, spoiler alerts, we're going to be talking about the entire series, but the newest thing, well, I guess the newest thing that came out was Falcon and Winter Soldier, but before that, WandaVision.
WandaVision.
Yeah, WandaVision got a lot of hype. I waited until all 9 episodes were published.
I just don't see how you can do it.
Let me tell you, if I would have waited week to week with those first 3 episodes, I would have been super irritated and lost hope. But because I was able to binge watch, now I thought the first couple episodes were cute, but in the Marvel, scope, I was like, this is lacking a little bit, and I would have been frustrated.
But don't you have enough faith and hope in Marvel that they wouldn't make something super garbage like that? Yeah,
for sure. And I didn't have to worry about it because I was just able to go to the next episode. But Rachel she's like, I don't know that I can do this. I was like, well, just enjoy the journey. Let's get there. Let's get there.
Enjoy the journey.
Well, so Rachel has this, I don't know, I guess call it a superpower. She's very intuitive and very good about figuring out the big twist, what's going to happen. And she had already kind of predicted along the lines of what's happening in WandaVision within the first episode. So at that point, she gets irritated and doesn't want to watch it because she's like, well, I've already figured out. This is what happens when you're a nerd and you read because you know all the twists. So I told her, stop being a nerd and dumb yourself down a little bit and just enjoy the journey.
Can you just get on our level? Okay.
Yeah, seriously.
Thanks. Yeah.
So my mom texted me because she was listening to the episode where we were talking about binge watching and you bring up WandaVision. And she's like, oh, you've got to tell Mary I started watching WandaVision. I was like, oh, cool. I haven't started yet. What do you think? And she's like, I don't like it. I don't understand it. I don't understand. I don't like it. And I said, okay, well, I've heard that it gets better. Like, how many episodes have you watched? She's like, 2. And I said, well, I've heard it gets a lot better. I said, let me ask you a question. How many Marvel movies have you seen? And she's like, none of them. And I said, stop watching WandaVision because even if it does get better, you're not going to understand what's going on.
None of it, not one bit.
Like, this is the 26th thing in this universe.
Are you going to send her the list of what
we did?
What to watch and when?
I sent a group text to my son, to her and Darren because Darren is the Marvel expert of the family, and I said, hey,
we need to call in an expert.
I know, right? I said, can you send Grandma the list of the order that she needs to watch Marvel movies, and the order that you watch Marvel movies are by release date, not chronologically. The first time around, you watch them by release date. There's a purpose that they came out in the way that they came out. Now, later on down the road, if you want to watch them in chronological order, go for it. But the first time around, skip Hulk. Just skip Hulk. It's not even Mark Ruffalo.
It's not easy.
As long as you know the story of Hulk, you're good. And then if you want, just look up on YouTube the end credit scene for the only thing that links all that together. So I'm like, okay, so I can't just say watch, because the first one that they're in is they're in the end credit scene of Winter Soldier, I believe, and then
Mhm.
they are in Age of Ultron. That's when the twins
Well,
first
yeah,
show
that's
up.
when you see their actual like backstory and
right.
stuff.
That's when
Yeah.
Wanda really has a role. That's when Vision is created.
Mhm.
And like, but you can't just tell someone, "Oh, go watch Age of Ultron."
Well, no, because then you have a lot of questions.
Right. I mean, you could, as far as
There's too
WandaVision
many
is
questions.
concerned.
Yeah, but that
you
doesn't
could.
help for anything else.
It doesn't. No, it doesn't, because you're going to be so confused. Like, okay, who are all these people and why are they doing what they're doing? And there's so much like lead up to Captain America Civil War. Like, like there's so much that happens from the very beginning leading to Civil War. And then there's so much of character arches, especially with Tony Stark
right
in Endgame. So I was like, Mom, and I was surprised because my mom she's very much into pop culture, and she wants to know what is relevant. She gets all, I mean, she is the biggest Tampa Bay Bucks fan ever, and she's been a Giants fan her entire life. She had a Bulls shirt during the 95 or during the Chicago Bulls 90s championship run. Yeah, Empire Dynasty.
Yeah.
She just loves pop culture and jumping on bandwagons. So I guess I just always assumed that she had watched all these Marvel movies.
Well, especially when Endgame came out. Like that was
such
a big
huge
deal.
thing. Yeah.
Huge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when I went to go see those movies in the theater with the kids, I like specific instructions. If you have to pee, you're just going to have to go in your pants. Like we're not getting up. We're not
That's
leaving.
funny.
Everybody stay stationary.
You know,
don't talk to me.
I was late to the game. I did not watch a single Marvel movie until Spider-Man Far From Home came out. Okay, let me hold on. Let me take that back. That's not accurate. I did watch Iron Man 1 and I didn't love it. Okay. And I watched half of Iron Man 2 and hated it. And then I did see Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2 just on their own.
Okay.
I was like, okay, you know, and I feel like the Guardians movies, you can do that. You can watch them.
Yeah. Without any other premise. Sure.
Exactly.
I think so. Yeah.
But then you don't really get a whole lot of closure, but you do, but you don't, you know. Finally, after Endgame came out and there was so much talk about it, and then I love Spider-Man. So Spider-Man Far From Home was coming out. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to go down this rabbit hole. So when I originally watched it, I skipped Iron Man 1 and 2 because I was like, no, I don't want to do it. Darren had me skip Thor 1 and 2. Like I didn't even watch the two. Yeah. The first one, he had me start on Captain America First Avenger. And then I skipped Guardians 1 and 2 because I had already seen it. So like I watched it in the correct order, but skipping a lot of movies. So
interesting.
It was okay, but now because my mom's going back and because I watched WandaVision and loved it so much, I've now gone back and
are you starting it over?
Yeah, no, I'm already on I just finished Doctor Strange yesterday, so I'm into Guardians Volume 2 is the next movie that I'm watching.
Nice.
Yeah. But now I appreciate things a lot more.
Well, that's good. I should watch them in order too, because I don't think I did. I jumped around a little bit too, but I don't remember when I first started watching them though. I can't remember that. Well, but I do. Well, Grayson is such a Spider-Man fan.
Yeah.
Like those are played all the time. Far From Home is actually one of his favorites.
Yeah. And that's why I got into it.
Was because of that one. What did you think about Spider-Verse?
I don't know. I haven't seen Spider-Verse.
You haven't watched that one yet?
No.
Oh
but
boy.
When they originally came out and it was Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, I thought that they were just separate movies. And then all of a sudden they started linking. And the Marvel universe has done such a good job of everything is for a purpose. You may not understand the purpose at the time, but everything is for a purpose. And what I loved about WandaVision, it was a really cute show, but it's the start of Phase 4.
Yeah.
It's only one season, and that is the official start of Phase 4. And I think that's really exciting to understand the universe.
Yeah, they understand the universe.
Yeah, the time travelers and all that. But
who's your favorite Avenger?
Well, I mean, I love Spider-Man. Spider-Man's probably my favorite. I'm definitely, when it comes to Captain America or Iron Man, I'm definitely Team Captain America.
Okay, I think we talked about this.
Yeah. I think Spider-Man and Wanda are my favorites. Because Wanda is the most powerful out of all of them. Even though Brie Larson says, no, Captain Marvel is. And I'm like, well, no, but you're always late to the party. Like,
Yeah, that
Literally
is
showed up like 2 movies before
always.
the end.
Always. I definitely, Captain America is my favorite with a close second of Thor. For reasons unknown to myself. I have no idea. I don't know.
I wonder.
I don't know. I do love Doctor Strange too.
That's one of my favorite movies for sure.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So then my son confused things a little bit, and he's like, for extra viewing or whatever, you can watch the X-Men movies, and I'm like, no, don't even go down, because there's a certain order with that too, and no,
you can't. She's got to keep them separated. Like you've got to do complete one and then go to the next.
As far as WandaVision is concerned, all you need to know, spoiler alert, is that they recast Quicksilver as the guy who played him in X-Men First Class or Days of Future Past or whatever.
And I thought they were going to do something with that. When I saw that, I was like, where are we going?
They didn't. That was just, it's just a cute little Easter egg, nothing to really be involved with. So my mom doesn't follow instructions well. We told her skip Hulk.
So she wrecked it. And she's like, I'm going to start with Hulk, actually.
No, she didn't start with Hulk, but she definitely watched it out of order. Like, she didn't watch Hulk until probably right before the Avengers. So she did Captain America First Avenger. She did everything correctly, and then before she watched Avengers, she went back and watched Hulk. Mm-hmm. So then when Mark Ruffalo shows up, she's like, who did Mark Ruffalo replace? I'm like, Bruce Banner. Like, he's the Hulk. And I'm like, that's why, like, don't watch that first one. Right. And then she's freaking out now. I know. She's freaking out now because there's, 9 seasons of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? I'm like, Mom, I've never watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's just a fun little thing that's going to expand on some of these characters. There's also a bunch of Marvel shorts that you can watch too.
I'm sure that she's like stressed out. If you go into her house, she's got it like on the wall. With,
she's got strings. Yes, exactly. There's Tony Stark in the middle, and then the different strings and all this. She doesn't get any sleep. She's sitting there with the coffee and the.
She's probably got her. She's got her bunker with all the information in the wing of your house that you don't know it exists.
Exactly.
Like, that's her viewing area.
Exactly. So yeah, but I'm enjoying, and again, I started watching them now again as well, so I could just be a little bit more knowledgeable on it because I had only seen each movie one time. So I'm like, you know what,
it's hard to recall facts.
Exactly, especially in the order that I watched them. And so now I can answer some questions for her, which is nice. I sound like somewhat intelligent.
Like, well, let me help you out with that, man.
Yeah, because my son doesn't answer the phone, so at least I'm giving her information. You
just gotta text him. I don't answer the phone either.
I know he's a millennial, so
it is. I would rather do anything other than talk to someone on the phone. Anything.
So do we need to start doing a blog instead of a podcast?
Well, I don't mind this. This is different because you know what? Some of it is I can see your face, so that's fine. I feel like we're just hanging out and talking.
Sure.
But I don't know. I think when it comes to talking on the phone, there's a lot of pressure. I can't read any facial expressions, and I feel like I have to talk immediately. I don't have time to noodle on what my response is going to be. And maybe I don't know. The sound of a phone ringing is triggering for me.
Gotcha.
I don't like it.
I don't like making. I don't really like being on the phone either. I don't like ordering pizza. I don't
making doctor's appointments.
Making any appointments.
Kill me now.
Yeah, like I've got to follow up with my plumber because we're gonna have to replace the hot water heaters, and I'm like shaking thinking about having to call them because a lot of it is I'm an idiot and I don't really adult well. Like that's what Rachel is the master adult. Like she is one miracle away from sainthood. I say that all the time. But she also knows construction and different like she knows plumbing, she knows HVAC, she knows electric and all that. So like I'm calling the plumber, I'm like, what am I asking them to do? She's like, well, we just need to just have it serviced. And I'm like, okay, what does that mean? And she's like, well, have them drain the sediment.
You're like, wait, can you write that down for me?
Right. Like
phonetically, please. I
posted on Facebook the other day, like when you send your husband to the grocery store and it's pictures.
Yes,
like, that is me. That is me.
I've seen that.
I can't tell you how many times I've picked out the wrong thing.
This last grocery trip I just went on, I don't think I bought anything that was actually food, like real meals. I don't know what I did. I lost my mind while I was in the store.
Sure.
I bought 6 bags of chips. I don't know what I'm going to do with those, but it's fine.
Are you going on a road trip? Did like your mom give you $100 bill and you're like, I don't know what to do with this. Let me get every assortment of chips.
I think so. Well, and I think it all started because I saw the Doritos 3D, and I'm an idiot and didn't even realize that was happening. Like
Yeah, there
your
was a
mom
big
probably
Super Bowl
knows pop.
commercial.
I know your mom knows pop culture better than I do,
Yeah.
but I
She
don't
does.
know. I saw them and I was so excited. And you know what else came back out? Fruit roll-ups. They have the
What?
old one. Yeah, no, you remember the ones where you could peel it out and it looked like pizza and you added the toppings to it? It was from like 15 years ago. This may be our age gap that we're going to show now.
Probably.
That is out. They reintroduced it, or they did like a retro throwback limited release. And I was like, oh yes, I shouldn't eat that, but it's out, so I'm gonna.
Okay. Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
I'm bad with Oreos. And I make it a point, like when Rachel makes me go shopping, I'm like, this is a learning opportunity for you. And I will come with a stack. And Abby like helps me. Just a
She's
stack
like, I'll carry them.
Oreos. Yeah. But it's not regular Oreos. It's I go for all the different flavors. I want to try every different flavor of Oreo.
Oh, gross.
Carrot cake is one of my
no.
favorites. The mint, the birthday
No,
cake,
yep.
red
I'm gonna
velvet.
Stop you right there. That's how I know you're a psychopath. A mint? Do you like
Oh,
mint
my
chocolate
God.
chip ice cream too?
Yes, as long as the mints aren't hard. I don't like the hard mints, but I like it when it's a mint chocolate.
Why would you choose mint as a flavor?
I don't know. I love the flavor mint.
Oh my God.
I love the Girl Scout cookies, the thin mints. Like I could eat a whole sleeve.
No, I can't. I don't like it. I am very happy that they came out with gluten-free Oreos.
I did not know that. That's exciting.
Yes. And it's not good for me though, because I, get tons of them. I get just the regular and the double stuff. That's all they have right now for gluten-free, which is fine. I'm grateful, but I'll eat a whole sleeve at a time.
Sure.
It's not good. It's not good.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, listen, happy April Fool's Day. Happy Autism Awareness Month.
Yes.
Day.
Yep.
Month.
Day, month. We'll
or
say
even
month.
your year.
We'll say month. Year. I like that even
Yeah.
better. Wonderful.
Exactly. Don't forget, like us on Facebook at No New Friends Podcast. You can email us, no new friends podcast at yahoo.com. Message and support us by clicking on the message and support link in the episode description. We will be back next week.
Okay, bye.